Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland. This week, I spent $43 and change on groceries. I also did not a minor clean of the freezer. I fully took every single item out of the freezer in the fridge. So not the big upright freezer, but I took everything out of the freezer. Kind of did a little inventory, cleaned the freezer out, and then reorganized and put everything back in. That gives me an idea of what food that I'd forgotten that we had, and ideas of what I want to eat out of there to make more space. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you would do so. It would help me. Thanks a lot. I've decided to do a reorganization of the freezer. I know I talk about being very limited for space. I am. And what that means is sometimes I lose track of what I actually have. So I thought that at least for today, so this is not including my stand-up freezer. That's its own little story. I thought I would pull everything out and just give you guys a show of what I have in the freezer, and some of the things that I pulled out of there, I had actually forgotten were in the freezer. Let's get started. I do have these organized a little bit into kind of areas. So here we have some bagged stuff. I've got onion rings. These are hash brown patties, and these are those hash brown waffles. Then I have fruit. I've got cranberries, so that's frozen cranberries. Those are open. And blueberries, also open. And raspberries, also open. And then I have a little bit of pineapple that I have cut up in here that's for toppings for pizzas. This is cherries that I bought. The cherries, I husked them, took the seeds out, and froze a bunch. And this is frozen strawberries. I moved this, I don't know, maybe about 2 months ago. I was like, oh, I'm going to make a strawberry dessert. And I moved it from the upright freezer into this freezer, yet it is still in there. Strawberries. I also have a bag of frozen cranberries, and these ones were fresh, and I popped them in the freezer at some point. Over here, this is a half of a can of black beans. So I used a half a can in a recipe, the other half into the freezer. And down on the bottom there, it is some kind of leftover that I froze. Looks like a pasta sauce, maybe taco. I'm not sure. Can't remember. And here there is one container of Cool Whip. I think there's at least 2 containers of Cool Whip in the upright freezer. This is a large, this is either salami or pepperoni. I don't know which. Now we're getting into veggies. That is a bag of unopened broccoli. This is Asian style stir fry, opened. This is peas, opened. This is peas, opened. This is California blend, opened. I have 1.5 packages of butternut squash. So this one's unopened and this is open, and I've taken half out. I've got a half of a package of frozen spinach. I've got a half a frozen onion. Why? I don't know. For soup or something. It was probably getting to the point where we didn't want to use this in fresh eating, but it's totally fine for a casserole or a soup. And then this is some corn that I have husked at some point, cut off a cob, and froze. Let's get into, we have an entire shrimp ring. This is left over from a big Christmas thing that we did last year. These are more like appetizer kind of items. Those are pickle spears, the last of a bag. Those ones are dill pickle chips, and I was able to merge them from the bag into like a smaller Ziploc bag. And then those are leftover shrimp appetizers. And then this is maybe a third of a bag of coconut shrimp. We have, stuff won't stay. We have fish burgers here. These I got 6 weeks ago, maybe at Gateway Meat Market. This is an unopened box of egg rolls, and I think there's 2 boxes also in the upright freezer. This is an open box of cheese and bacon beef burgers. I also believe there is a box or two of these in the upright freezer, and I had actually forgotten that this was in the freezer. I'd forgotten about those appetizers as well. And then mini beef sliders. I got this on a markdown. Oh my gosh. Probably 3 or 4 months ago. Totally forgot that it was in there. So little beef sliders. Then we have two packages of Schneider's, Maple Leaf bacon. And on the bottom, there is a package of turkey bacon. What was falling all over the place is the chicken that I placed on top of. I have 2 club packs here. And then I have boneless, skinless chicken breasts, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. This is 2 chicken thighs. This is 1 chicken thigh. This is a chicken breast that is cut in half, so 1 chicken breast. Then for beef, I have beef stewing meat. This is 1 steak. That would be something I would package up in the idea that I was going to use that in a stir fry or something. We've got ground beef. There's a club pack of steaks underneath there. I have a pork loin here. There is 3 packages of sausages, and I'll be the first one to admit we don't normally store sausages in the fridge freezer. So more sausages, definitely more sausages in the upright freezer. And then we have some cold cuts. This is a piece of pepperoni. This is, I'm pretty sure this is chicken breast, a half of a pack. This is bologna and more chicken breast. These items all fit into my fridge freezer. I'm going to clean it out now, get these back in here organized, but this just gives me a better idea of what I have on hand, so that I can save freezer purchases for items I don't have on hand, and also start thinking about using up some of these things so that we can make some space in the freezer. It's good for me to get everything out of here so that I can reorganize, but also to clean. Ugh, this horrifies me. We can't let this get like this again. These are some items that I pulled out of the freezer. So when I found the pepperoni, that kind of gave me an idea for pizza. So I went digging in the upright freezer and I found salami. So I pulled that out as well. I did pull out the pineapple, and I pulled out this. It's a half a package of chicken. I know that could be used on pizza as well. I found one of those in the drawer in the upright freezer when I was digging around for this, and thought, okay, well, I'll pull that out. I know the handsome one likes those. And there was one leftover package of English muffins. So those are some items that I have been able to pull out right away. I'm at Sobeys, and now that I've done that purge of the, not even purge, reorganization of the freezer, and I found those little mini sliders, I came in looking for mini slider buns, and the only ones I can find are these Compliments mini brioche buns. So those are the right size. And these are $5.79. Ooh, that's a tough pill to swallow. I just found these King's Hawaiian buns. So there's butter savory and there's original Hawaiian, and these are actually about the same size as those slider buns, and we're looking at $4.49, which is a better price point than the other ones. I'm gonna have to think about what I want to do. Probably I'll go with these, and of course these seem more interesting to me. Yeah, gotta think about it. I'm in the dairy section. I came over here to look for lactose-free cottage cheese, and I see some save $1 coupons, Dairy Farmers of Canada, so I'm going to grab a couple of those. My sister has been looking for this ever since I had it in the Dollarama tour video. I'm going to pick one of these up for her. She'll be happy. I should have come here first. I couldn't remember what the price was on Harvest Crunch, and I just spent $1 more than this, and that was the sale price at Sobeys. Boo. I'm at Dollarama, and if buns are not on sale anywhere, the cheapest regular price that you can get is $2 Wonder Buns, hams and hot dog at Dollarama. So here I am getting them. Clearly, the masses know that the cheapest price for buns is now at Dollarama. Look at these racks. And they've got bread, too. All kinds of stuff. I don't use tons of sandwich bags, but I could buy great value sandwich bags, 50 pack for $1.74. Or I could buy 40 Ziploc for $4.47. This week, my grand total is $38.39. However, we're going to talk about that in a minute. It's really minus $2 in tax because I got something as a gift for my sister. So it's not really in my groceries, but it is on the receipt. I shopped at Giant Tiger, Walmart, Sobeys, and Dollarama. Let's get started. I bought milk at Sobeys. It was $6.79, and I had a $1 Dairy Farmers of Canada coupon, so that brought it down to $5.79. I got some Harvest Crunch granola, original, and this was on sale for $4.49, and they had a bunch of different flavors, but the original has 475 grams in the box, which is a much better value than some of the other flavored ones, so I just went with that. $4.49. I ended up getting the King's Hawaiian buns for the sliders. Those were on sale for $4.49, and I got the savory butter. I'm actually looking forward to trying this. Yeah, why would anyone buy those little sliders? I got the sliders, the beef sliders, on sale months ago for crazy cheap. But the reality is buying specialty things like that ends up costing you more money in the long run, because the actual buns that were designed to go with this, like $5.79? That sounds crazy to me. And like, this isn't even enough buns to do the whole box, and I'm making these work for it. Then I got the Nordica lactose-free cottage cheese, and something happened. I always try to watch the cash before I pay, and something just didn't look right to me, so I went down through the list and I was like, oh, the cottage cheese that's a different price than what it was on the shelf. And the guy said, do you remember what it was? And I said, I can't remember exactly, but I know that wasn't it. If you don't mind waiting, I can run back and just grab a picture of the tag on my phone. And he said, no, please, you don't mind? Go get it. So I ran back and took a picture, came back, and it was 10 cents difference. So it rang in at $4.99, and the tag was $4.89. And anyways, I was going to get it for $1 off with the Dairy Farmers of Canada coupon, but I ended up getting it totally free. And as he was ringing it through, I said, well, I'll take my coupon back since you don't need that anymore. So my grand total at Sobeys worked out to $14.77. And you can see here that I ended up getting the cottage cheese for free. I shopped at Walmart. I got sandwich bags for $1.74 for 50. And we're very conscientious about our footprint of products, garbage, reusable, and the majority of the things that we use are reusable, but every once in a while I do go for a sandwich baggie for something that's going to be leaving my house perhaps and not coming back. But you saw the difference in the price, and those price differences are at other stores as well. Definitely $1.74 was the best price to get some sandwich bags. I also was looking for hash browns. There's a recipe that I want to make, that I saw this recipe that I want to make, and it called for the little diced hash browns. And when I was in Sobeys, the hash browns were $4.99, and I just said, no, I just can't do it. So I thought they're probably just regular price, much cheaper at either Giant Tiger or Walmart, but I was going to Walmart to get the sandwich bags. So when I went in, they were $2.47. So I was pleased with that for a price. My grand total at Walmart was $4.47. Giant Tiger had clover leaf tuna on sale this week for $1 a can. We bought the limit. That was 6 cans. And it actually ended up being skipjack in water, which that's fantastic. Very, very excited to get that for $1. So the grand total was $6 at Giant Tiger. And I needed hot dog buns. There were no buns on sale this week, so with nothing on sale, Dollarama is definitely the cheapest, $2. So I went in looking for buns. The handsome one had asked me if I could get some rice crackers. So these crackers are $1.25 there. And then I picked up salad topper for my sister, so that is on the receipt. And I got a couple snacks. I love these pyramid bars. They come 5 bars in a package, and they're $1.75. Haven't seen them in a really long time, so I grabbed a package of those. Got a package of cookies, and these cookies were $1.75 as well. And I got a bag of plain chips because we have some things that we could make chip dip with, and the chips were on for $2.25. So grand total at Dollarama, $13.15, but keep in mind, I'm just giving that to my sissy. She was very curious about that when I got it. I picked it up 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe even, when I was doing my Dollarama tour video. So if you haven't seen that and you live in Canada and you don't buy any groceries at Dollarama, you might find the Dollarama tour video of 2024, July 2024. So just Google that, Dollarama grocery tour July 2024, and you will be amazed at the groceries that you can find in Dollarama. And of course, I was getting the buns off the shelf, which was right beside the cereal, and that's when I realized that the Harvest Crunch regular price there was $1 less than what I paid at Sobeys on sale. I couldn't remember the price of it. It's not a regular thing that we buy all of the time, and so it just didn't kind of click in my mind. But now that I've overspent on it once, I guarantee you it's clicked in my mind now. I won't make that mistake again. Anyways, I think I did great. This is still leftover pasta sauce, which I made with leftover stuffed pepper stuffing. I have boiled some spaghetti here. I just threw a little bit of butter in there. That is melting, and over there. And once this melts, I'm going to just throw some of the sauce in here, and I will let the sauce heat just from the heat of the noodles. This will be lunch today. For supper tonight, we are going to eat some of these mini beef burger sliders. We are going to have the Annie's shells and real aged cheddar as a side, and the handsome one is going to make some jalapeno poppers with some of the jalapenos from our garden. These are smelling so good. We used the bruschetta that I bought last week. Cream cheese, some spices mixed with other like regular cheese, and then wrapped in the bruschetta. Little baby sliders. Barbecue. Yummy. It's a nice calm evening on the lake. It certainly was not like this last night. It started out like this, and I actually went out for a kayak paddle with some of the neighbors, and we'd been out for a while when all of a sudden the wind just picked up. Quite big waves, got really rough, and got home, and it just downpoured about 20 minutes after we got home. So the packaging said to heat it in the oven. We had taken the jalapeno poppers out. The oven was still on, so we just popped these right in the oven. They are nice and toasty. Let's serve up supper. Little mini sliders with Annie's shells and cheddar cheese and jalapeno poppers. Yummy. One looks super yummy. I'm going to pop my little lids on. Very excited. I am going through my preserve cupboard. So I have an 18-inch pantry that the top third is where I store my preserves. And that is empty bottles as well as actual preserve, like stuff. So I'm getting ready to make some beet pickles. So I'm trying to decide, do I want to make them in 1 liter jars, in 500 milliliter jars, and kind of in organizing. I pulled out some stuff that we don't have in the fridge right now. Like we don't have any salsa in the fridge. We don't have any dilled carrots in the fridge, and we don't have any hot pickled peppers. So let's get those out of at least the storage area and into the fridge, and then we can make some more decisions. Working on 2 things simultaneously. So the celery is soaking. I'm going to wash that soon and get it in the dehydrator. But I'm also making beet pickles today. So this is 1 bag of beet pickles, 1 bag of beets. This was $2. I got it for a crazy deal. I have 2 of these bags, and all I've done so far with this one, I have simply cut off the tops and the bottoms and give them a quick rinse before I put them in the pot. They cook with the skins on. I've cut the heads or the tops and the bottoms off the beets, give them a quick wash, like to get the main dirt and stuff off. We are going to boil these. The skin comes off after they're cooked. This is bag number 2. I am going to cut these into little pieces, and I'm just going to get them on these baking sheets and get them in the oven at 200 degrees. I'm just cutting them in pieces that look like this. I'm going to get everything in the oven now and put it on 200, and we'll just keep checking it. I'll know when the dehydration is done. So you can see the brine that I make for the beet pickles is equal parts sugar and cider vinegar. I have 6 cups of cider vinegar in my pot. I'm going to add 6 cups of sugar, and we are going to get this starting to boil, because if you can see, you got to do it for 45 minutes. So let's get this started now. So a couple things have happened pretty quick. The beets finished cooking. It took a long time because these were really big beets. I drained them into the sink, let them cool, not for a long time, just enough that I wasn't burning my hands. And then when you rub the beets, the skin slides right off. So skins are off now. Now I am processing the beets, which these are really big, so I'm just cutting them in half and then cutting them in wedges. They go inside the canning jar, and then you top this up with the brine, which is the 1 part vinegar to 1 part sugar, and it's apple cider vinegar that I have been boiling for about the last 45 minutes. 10 pounds of beets got me 8 quarts and 1 250 milliliter jar, so a pint, of beet pickles. And I had all of the ingredients that I needed. I already had all of these jars. The rings, I reused rings that I just used until jars sealed. They weren't stored on the jars, and all of the seals are new, and I just have boxes and boxes of seals that I buy when I find them in discount carts. These are the last 2 of those little Crave breakfast scramble kits. We're going to have these for lunch because I thawed this yesterday. I'm going to use some of this in with the scramble kits because it doesn't have any meat in it. Each of them will need an egg. This is what it looks like with the meat in. I'm going to stir it up, of course. Quick lunch. This is after 3 hours. It is, some of them are getting dehydrated, but there's lots on there. The ones that look whiter, they are still like lots to go. This was 5 hours on 200. Let's get it in a jar. We are making dough. We split the dough in 2. We have half of it for another pizza later this week. We put that in the fridge, and let's get this one started. This is my homemade pizza sauce. I didn't have quite enough, so I just mixed a little tiny bit of this with it to make it enough. Normally I put the toppings on and then I add the cheese last, add the cheese on top, but I decided to do it different today. This is the cheese on first. And for topping, we have salami, turkey or chicken, pepperoni. These are sweet peppers. These are hot burrito peppers. So they're about the same hotness as a burrito or as a jalapeno. Onion, mushrooms, pineapple, and I'm going to grab some bacon bits out of the fridge as well. I feel like this is a lot of stuff on here, and what is going to hold this all together? I feel like I should just put a little sprinkling of cheese on top. You guys should weigh in on this. You'll see what I actually do, but tell me in the comments, should the cheese go on first? Should the cheese go on last? And in a situation like this, where I put the cheese on first, and I'm thinking, oh dear, that's a lot of toppings. This is all going to fall apart. Should I cover with a loose layer of cheese on top just to melt it all together? I did add some on top just to kind of keep everything together. I don't know if I had to or not, but it's looking pretty good. I'm just going to... Not yet. Oh man, this turned out amazing. I'm going to let it cool a little bit before I cut it. I decided that we were going to use the cucumbers we picked from the garden to make mustard pickles. I have every single thing the recipe calls for except for 2 cups of cauliflower. So I thought I'd pop into Avery's. They had cauliflower on for $3.99. And when I was in there, they also had broccoli on for $1.44. So I thought I would use the 2 cups of broccoli or cauliflower, and then whatever's left in the cauliflower, I would use that with broccoli and make another cauliflower broccoli salad. So grand total, $5.43. I have the equivalent of 5 to 6 medium, large cucumbers in here. Our cucumbers were mostly small and a little deformed, so I just did an average. But there is 2 cups of cauliflower, 2 cups of onion, one small green pepper, and 1 red pepper finely chopped. Now what I'm going to do is add 2 tablespoons of pickling salt in here, stir it all up, and that pickling salt will help to release the moisture that's in the vegetables, and that prevents your mustard pickles or whatever you're making, whatever you're processing, it helps to prevent it from being watery once you start cooking them. You can see the salt just laying on the top there, so we'll give everything a really good stir. I'm going to put the lid on this and then we're just going to let it soak. My mustard pickles vegetables have been soaking overnight, so let's take a look here. This looks good, and this is actually what we want to see. When I pull this back, can you see all the liquid there? There, all the liquid there. All of this has come out of the vegetables, and that's just what soaking in salt will do. So I am going to drain this because we don't want any of the liquid. We only want the vegetables. It will keep the mustard pickles when I'm cooking them and when they're being preserved. It will prevent all of that liquid from releasing into the jars. It's gone in advance of the jars. I've just got them draining in the colander. Most of the liquid's already come out of there while I prepare the mustard sauce that is going to go in the jars. And I like to put my hot preserves into hot jars. So I have the jars in the oven on low now. That was just the reaching temperature of 200 degrees. And I will leave them in there until just before I'm ready to put the stuff in the jars. Now in the pot, I have a half a cup of white sugar and a quarter of a cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of dry mustard, 1 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 1/4 teaspoon of mustard seed, and 1 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed. So I will mix this all together, And then I will gradually stir in 1.5 cups of vinegar and 1/2 cup of water, and I will bring it to a boil. But you need to be really paying attention because this is so easy, especially with that flour and sugar in there, to burn to the pot. So you've got to stir it and watch very carefully. All right, this is all stirred, and I have the vinegar and water already here. And we will gradually add this in, stirring, and then I'll turn the heat on. This is what this looks like now, folks. You can see it's already starting to thicken. Hasn't quite come to a boil yet, but when it does, oh, it is. When it does, I will turn it down to simmer, and of course then add the veggies. Then you simmer it, no boiling. I can't even stress how important that is. I'm gonna turn this recipe card. Absolutely no boiling. If this boils, the pickles will be soft. So watch for steam, but no bubbles. And do not double the recipe. Those are the biggest instructions that I could tell you if you want to make sure that your pickles are not soft. This looks really good. I'm going to add in the veggies. So here we go. Veggies are in. I'm going to give this a stir and make sure that it simmers. No boiling. Steam is fine. And 40 minutes, and then we'll be bottling. This is looking pretty awesome. So I just got to watch it carefully, and then we will bottle. This is looking really, really good. You can see that it's starting to become much more saucy. This is very good. All right, I am ready to put them in the jars. Yesterday was a really long day with the beets. I also did the prep work for the mustard pickles, but I will say having them all lined up here makes me feel pretty accomplished. I'm pretty pleased with this. I don't know if we're going to be getting more cucumbers out of the garden or not, but I think this was an excellent way to use up some items that we grew ourselves. Now the beets I bought. So the beets cost $4, and I already had all of the rest of the supplies. The only thing that I purchased for the mustard pickles was cauliflower, and that was $3.99, but there's lots of cauliflower left that I'm going to use in cooking. So I'm going to say that maybe $1.50 of the cauliflower. I had all of the new lids. As soon as these seal, I will take the rings off. And then I reuse the rings because they're not in use in the pantry. I saw that from another person who vlogs, who makes lots of preserves, and they said it just allows them to see if anything unseals, like in storage, right away. And I thought that was really very clever because honestly, once they seal properly, you don't need the ring anymore. So that's what I do. I'm making a pasta salad to go with meal today. So we've got the fusilli cooked in here. There's grated carrot, there's cucumbers, green peppers, and tomatoes, and I might add in some onion. And this recipe is 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of water, and a tablespoon of honey mustard. And then you just mix that in with this and chill. This is everything in there. Let's start to mix it up here. So 2 tablespoons olive oil, 2 tablespoons water, 1 tablespoon honey mustard, and stir. Well, this looks pretty delightful. I'm excited about this. Let's get it in. Okay, I spelt it. That little woo, that was some misadventure. But this still looks pretty delightful. I started making the broccoli cauliflower salad. There's still broccoli left that I haven't back in the fridge, and also some cauliflower. In here I have red onions, bacon bits, cranberries, and I need to grate some cheese and then get the sauce on it. We are having beer can chicken. This looks really good. The handsome one is the barbecuer. broccoli salad, pasta salad, dilled carrots, pickled peppers, pickles, cheese, and beer can chicken. I have a little bit of everything. What we ate earlier today was not lunch, but it also wasn't supper. It was kind of in between. So now we are having a very late supper, and we're just having leftover pizza from last night. It was really delicious. Just me for lunch today. The handsome one is running some errands. So one last piece of pizza left, and that is just for me. I heated it up in the air fryer. For supper tonight, we are going to have fish burgers in the air fryer and leftover pasta salad from yesterday. Okay, this is the 15-minute mark. Woo! Pull those out. We are going to flip these over and slide this back in. And put them back in for another 10. I'm making tartar sauce, so that's mayo, relish, and mustard. I think we'll need a little more relish in there. I always do that. Always need more relish. Okay, let's add some tartar sauce. Oops. Looks great. Let's plate everything up. Fish burgers with leftover pasta salad, and there was actually a little bowl with a tiny little bit of broccoli and cauliflower salad left. Really looking forward to this. Sometimes meals are just simple, adding something into leftovers that you already have. Mini sliders for supper tonight. I'm not sure if we're having a side with it or if we're just having this. 4 little burgers, and now I need to get motivated to put these together. Today was a long, long day. Okay, this looks pretty tasty. I've got ketchup and relish. You've already seen in the video the pictures and the videos from before the water bath canning happened. This is after. You can see everything looks pretty much identical. But the good thing that I can do now is, let's see if I can get this one-handed, woo! One-handed, is I can take the rings off all of the jars because this is totally sealed now. And all of these jars can be stored in the pantry, and I can save these rings aside to be used for future use. I find that before I started doing this, what would happen is with the rings on, the rings, I often had the jars or the preserves in my basement. It was damp. The rings would get rusty. So this makes it a lot easier for me to have nice clean rings that I can reuse. Just have brand new lids or seals, whatever you call them. Tuna wraps for lunch today. Tuna, diced dill pickle, mayo, and a little bit of ranch powder. This looks really good. I haven't had tuna in a long time. Yeah, excited. This looks good. Very good. This is leftover chicken from the beer can chicken we had earlier this week. I'm going to use the majority of this to make a pot pie. It's a rainy, dreary day again today. These are older broth pucks that I made from chicken. And I think these ones are also chicken or turkey. So we're just going to use some of those to make the gravy. We actually still have green beans and yellow beans left over from when I bought them at the farm's market. I'm going to say that's 2 weeks ago now. The handsome one is just kind of going through them. It's been a while. The majority of them are good, but some of them are not good. So we're just separating them, cleaning them out. We'll cook those up, and we'll also add in potatoes, carrots, and peas. Here you can see I've got potatoes, carrots, you can see tucked in there. The beans are on the bottom. I am going to gently boil this. So I'm not going to fully cook them, but I am going to partially cook everything and then mix it in with gravy. Oh, and I'll add peas in at the very end. Mix it in with gravy, and then it'll finish cooking in the pot pie. And that just helps speed things along a little bit for me. This is a really old school Tupperware. We call it the gravy maker, but the real name for it is the quick shake container. It's got a little separator in there. There's water and flour. So I'm just going to blend this up, and this will go in to my broth to thicken the gravy. You can easily do this. You don't need a container like that, but you can do this in a bowl with a whisk. You could even do it with a fork. So use what you have. I happen to have this one since 1992. How many years is that? 32 years. I've had that for 32 years. I'm also going to add in some poultry seasoning and some summer savory to flavor my gravy. Bring this back to a boil. I'm making the topping with Bisquick. It's 2 cups of Bisquick and 1.5 cups of milk. I am just going to mix it, and it'll be fairly liquid. And when I add all of the ingredients into, I'm using a big pan, I will just pour this over it, and then we'll bake. So I have drained the veggies, poured them into here. I already had chicken in here. The gravy is ready. Let's start adding this on. We'll mix it in together. This is going to be really good. I'm going to give this a stir. I think I'll add a little more gravy, and then we'll get the topping on. The oven is preheating to 375, and as soon as it hits that mark, I'm going to slide this right in. Looking good so far. Smells great. I can smell that poultry seasoning for sure. This looks great. Browned up, nice and crispy. Yeah, so obviously it has to cool before I attempt to serve it. Cut it and serve it. Looking pretty delicious. Yogurt parfait for lunch today. The blueberries are getting soft. Definitely need to eat those up. I got to figure something out with them when I just grabbed a handful, like you can see. Messy. So I'm thinking more muffins or something. And I need to add the Harvest Crunch on top, the granola on top, and I already have honey, you can see in there. And yeah, I have 2 spoons because I had 1 spoon for the yogurt, and then I didn't want to put the yogurt spoon in the honey, and then instead of just washing it, yeah, I know, I should have just washed it. I got a 2nd spoon. Messy. I'm making a mess today. Looking good. This looks so good. I just had to say that. We have a very busy weekend coming up. We have a family wedding. We have the rehearsal dinner, and a lot of prep work. So we decided tonight we are going to use this gift card and we are going to head into town for supper tonight. Very excited. We're having some potato skins to start. This looks really yummy. It is rib night here, so I got a half a rack of ribs and coleslaw and sweet potato fries. This was a really, really productive week in so many ways. Making the preserves. We actually harvested some stuff out of the garden, which you will see in the upcoming garden update video on Monday. I cleaned out the freezer. That was wonderful. Just a lot of housekeeping items. I'm really pleased to have the preserves put down and stored away already for the summer, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to do more. Thanks so much for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts. I always love comments. Have a great weekend, everybody.